Jak and Daxter is a game I never thought I would play until I recently streamed it on Twitch. Shameless plug. And through what I first saw as a game that had barely anyone playing it, was actually a simplistic masterpiece. For those of you like me who were born in the early 2000s and the three main things you had were a family iPad, a Fushigi ball, and a copy of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, the video game GameCube edition, you probably have never heard of Jak and Daxter before. James Baxter is a game developed by the naughtiest of dogs, Naughty Dog, the legends who created other games such as Crash Bandicoot, Uncharted, The Last of Us, and my personal favorite, Keef the Thief. It's got all the typical things you'd see in a 3D platformer at its time: combat, collectibles, puzzles, those minigames that somehow feel so anxiety-inducing. Ah! There's so many poisonous fish! Ah! I missed one! But the thing I really want to talk about is what this game did that stood out to me. Its simplicity. With how games are designed today, it's safe to say that they are far from simple. Most games nowadays are filled to the brim with dramatic cutscenes, endless side content, and pages of documentation that your character finds on the floor, and info dumps the whole plot of the game even though you already knew what was happening. I don't understand why games still do this. Jak and Daxter doesn't have any of that. It just has extremely simple and fun gameplay. All this game does is makes you go around and collect these bright glowing ball things called power cells that only have one function, which is to stop you from progressing the game too fast. And I 100% think that is true, and I will gladly die on that hill. But what makes collecting these power cells so fun and engaging is its movement. I have never felt a control set from a game that made me feel so jittery with excitement. From the uppercuts to the goofy looking spin attack, to the best movement mechanic ever made in the history of game making, the roll jumping. All the inputs for these feel so snappy and satisfying, and each input leads into a follow-up, making movement and combat fluent and fast-paced. And I genuinely feel like this game set the foundation and expectations for 3D platformers today. All in all, the movement of this game is fantastic, but what's the point of exploring without a world that's worth exploring? Now what would a platform game be without any platforms? I should play Bubsy next. The world of Jak and Daxter also leads into the simplistic nature, but makes it still feel so lively. Each area is so different from each other due to their gimmicks of different terrain and platforming puzzles. Jungle traps, slippery icy surfaces, pools of dark eco-death. Everywhere you go, you're going to find something new that complements your already pre-existing movement kit. There's no unlockable skills or new abilities you get in the game, aside from the different ecos, of course. The only things that change is how the environment changes in each level and how you adapt and overcome them yourself. And speaking of the levels themselves, it's also crazy how there are no loading screens in this game. Jak and Daxter is mainly held together by the hub areas with their nearby levels and the connector levels that lead you into the next hub area. It was quite impressive during its time, and to me it still kinda is. With the movement in the world done, there really wasn't anything else that was necessary to add because at its core, the game was already perfect. The final thing that really stands out to me with this game, and frankly with most games during this time, were just how short they really are. Games today have this infatuation with making their players spend 100+ hours in it with tons of replayability and excessive content. While striving to accomplish that ambitious goal is fine, the huge issue that comes with it is just how much content is necessary for the game to be good. Why waste your time on having so much content that most players might not even engage with, when you can spend your time perfecting the core of your game that players are guaranteed to use when playing it? Games to me at least feel best when there's more quality than there is quantity, and while there are games that have achieved a level of success by having quality and quantity, it's mainly because their core game foundation was already good to begin with. Jak and Daxter doesn't need endless content or a huge open world or more useless collectibles. It has its core, and its core was good to make a whole game out of, which makes it a simplistic masterpiece. At the end of the day, the best way to describe the feeling this game made me get was wonder. A breath of fresh air that is almost 23 years old. And this was my first time ever playing it. I didn't have any nostalgia. My view for this game wasn't biased before playing it. The reason why I think it's good is because it still holds up to this day. It's truly something I can't be more grateful for experiencing for the first time, and especially with viewers like you. I don't want to make this ending emotional, but having chatters to talk to me about how much they enjoy this game and how they played it so many years ago made me feel really good inside and made me decide to continue streaming it. I mainly started streaming because I was bored in summer, but having people actually show up and hang out on my stream made me feel something that I never felt in my life, and it's something I kinda wish to continue to pursue. So while this story of Jak and Daxter sadly came to a close, there's always a new story just over the horizon. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.